Chapter 13. Long-Distance Love, Longing as a Trial by Fire. Have you ever wondered what it's like to love someone hundreds or thousands of miles away? To fall asleep at night with your phone clutched to your chest, hoping at least to feel their voice close by? To count the days on the calendar until your next reunion, while your heart skips a beat at every message notification? Long-distance love is a true emotional paradox. So close in your heart and yet so far from your embrace. No matter how strong the connection between two people, the miles between them weigh heavily. Longing becomes your daily companion, sometimes sweet, reminding you how much you care, other times bitter and painful, like a wound that throbs in the other's absence. Maybe you know this feeling, or maybe you can only imagine it. Your heart tightens when you see couples holding hands on the street, because you'd give anything to feel your loved one's warmth beside you, if only for a moment. These days, long-distance relationships are more common than ever. Studies, jobs abroad, unexpected adventures, life sometimes carries us far from those we love. Technology helps us stay connected, instant messages, video calls late into the night, heart emojis sent in the middle of the day. In theory it sounds simple, it's fine, we'll video chat and it will be just like being together. But we all know a screen can't fully replace a hug. No matter how clear the sound in your headphones, you can't whisper a caress. No matter how stable the Wi-Fi connection, you can't actually feel the other person's touch or scent. And let's be honest, sometimes technology has a mind of its own. The video freezes right when one of you says "I love you" with tears in their eyes, or the signal drops right in the middle of an important conversation. Long-distance love comes with these little tragicomic episodes too, moments that make you laugh bitterly and sigh, wondering how something as simple as a hug has become a luxury. Psychologically and biologically, distance really puts us to the test. When you're in love, your body longs for the other's presence. A simple kiss or cuddling on the couch releases the feel-good hormones in your brain, oxytocin, dopamine, that help you feel safe and loved. When you're far apart, those emotional vitamins begin to run low. Have you noticed how longing can physically hurt sometimes? Your heart beats erratically, you lose your appetite, or on the contrary, you eat compulsively out of anxiety. Without soothing touch, stress levels rise, the body produces cortisol, because the absence of your loved one is registered as a kind of pain or threat. Our biology is wired to seek closeness with the person we love. When it can't find it, it switches into alarm mode, even if rationally you know they're just far away, not gone. Emotionally, though, the mind starts spinning scenarios. Are they okay? What are they thinking about? What if the distance cools our feelings? What if they meet someone else? These questions can haunt you late at night when you lie alone staring at the ceiling. Longing becomes a test of trust in your partner but also in yourself and in the strength of your bond. Jealousy and insecurity can take root more easily in the other's absence. However balanced you are, when you don't know what your partner is doing on a Friday night, your mind can drift involuntarily toward doubts. A call they don't answer right away can trigger all sorts of grim assumptions. A photo on social media where your partner is smiling next to someone you don't know can knot your stomach. Sound familiar? Maybe you catch yourself checking the last scene on WhatsApp or analyzing the tone of their messages, trying to read between the lines how they're really doing. When you don't have someone right there, words become the main bridge between you, and words can be misleading. "And I'm tired, let's talk tomorrow" text late at night can sound in the head of a lover aching with longing, like "I'm done with you for today," even if in reality it truly is just fatigue. Without direct gestures and glances, misunderstandings crop up easily. Long-distance communication demands special care, extra honesty and patience, clear expression of feelings because the other person doesn't have you there to hold their hand when you're feeling insecure, and sometimes creativity to bridge the gaps. On the other hand, it's not all bleak. Long-distance love can bring out beautiful, unexpected things in both of you. The need to communicate can draw you profoundly close in spirit. You end up talking for hours about dreams, about childhood, about future plans, precisely because that's the food your relationship feeds on when the physical component is missing. Many couples who are far apart find they get to know each other much more deeply through these endless conversations than they might have by seeing each other daily in routine contexts. Every reunion becomes a celebration. Every email or small surprise gesture, a card sent through the mail, a surprise gift delivered to the door, carries special weight. Long-distance love teaches you to truly cherish your moments together and never again take them for granted. And, very importantly, it gives each of you the chance to grow individually while still staying connected. Each pursues studies, career, passions, and then every evening returns to the other through a call or a message. It's as if you were two flowers growing in separate pots, but under the same sun of your love. Even if your roots aren't intertwined in the same soil right now, both plants can blossom beautifully until someday you're in the same place again. Philosophers and poets have said it in many ways over time. Distance is a great examiner of love. There's an old saying that goes something like this: distance extinguishes small fires and fans the flames of great ones. In other words, if your love is superficial, distance can make it wither quickly, like a flower forgotten without water. But if your love is true and deep, absence will only stoke it further, like wind feeding a strong fire. If you walk through that fire and you're still holding hands at the end, you'll know your love has been forged to last. If not, then perhaps distance simply revealed the truth, bringing to light the cracks that may have been there all along. Let's speak plainly. Not all long-distance relationships survive, and it's easy to see why. They require solid trust, real commitment from both sides, and the ability to tolerate a lot of frustration and temporary loneliness. Some people simply cannot stand being far from the one they love and choose not to enter such a relationship or to end it if life separates them. Others find the strength to keep going, holding on to the hope that distance is only a passing phase. Neither choice is wrong in itself. Each person knows their emotional limits. Yet those who choose to keep loving across seas and borders often discover something remarkable about themselves and their relationship, that they're stronger than they thought, more creative in showing love, and more patient, and patience, honest communication, and loyalty become like anchors that hold the ship of your relationship together in the storm of distance. So what does such a long-distance love story actually feel like, with all its hopes and fears? Let's imagine a young couple in this situation and peek into the intimacy of their emotions. It's past midnight in a quiet neighborhood when Jennifer steps out of a taxi in front of her boyfriend's building. The summer night air is warm, but chills of emotion and anticipation run through her. After 3 months apart, 3 months of endless conversations and messages, she has finally managed to come home unannounced. In one hand she holds a small suitcase, and clutched to her chest a teddy bear Michael had given her before leaving abroad for a job. Her heart is pounding wildly. She wants to give Michael a beautiful surprise. She hasn't even told him she's coming this weekend. The key to his apartment lies hidden in her pocket. He left it with her just in case when he left, and now she's used it to surprise him. She climbs the stairs slowly, with bated breath, and opens his apartment door without a sound. Inside, it's dim. Only the pale glow of the laptop left open on the desk, and a feeble hallway bulb cast a faint light. Michael is asleep on the living room couch, half covered by a blanket. Jennifer lingers in the doorway for a moment, gazing at him fondly through the shadows. He seems a bit thinner, with dark circles under his eyes. Has he also spent sleepless nights thinking about her the way she did about him? She wants to tiptoe over and kiss his forehead, but something stops her. She's afraid of startling him in the middle of the night. She smiles through tears, realizing how much she's missed every feature of his, the way he breathes calmly in his sleep, the tousled hair on his forehead. God, how I've missed him, she sighs to herself. She sets her bag down as quietly as possible and takes a step toward the couch. Just then, on the table beside Michael, his phone gives a soft buzz and the screen lights up. Jennifer startles. This wasn't how she wanted to wake him, with a sudden sound. She steps closer and sees the name of an unfamiliar contact, Daria. The previewed message on the locked screen freezes her smile. Did you like the photo? Want more? Promise you'll delete it after you look. Heat floods Jennifer's cheeks, then a chill runs down her spine. In seconds, she goes from ecstasy to confusion to a searing pain. What photo? Promise you'll delete it. Her heart starts pounding. With trembling fingers she can't quite control. She gently grabs the phone and unlocks it. She knows the code. They sometimes used it together to play music. She opens the conversation, and all the blood rushes to her temples. There are several messages from Daria with hearts and kisses sent over the past weeks, and just above the one that just arrived, a grey notification appears. View once photo viewed. Jennifer understands immediately, a one-time photo, the kind of image you can view only once and then it disappears. That, did you like the photo? Takes on an ever clearer, ever more devastating meaning, probably an indecent photo, something intimate. Tears blur her vision. She feels the ground give way beneath her feet. Without meaning to, she drops the phone back on the table with a dull thud. Michael jerks, jolted awake. He opens his eyes in a panic, and for a moment he can't make sense of what's happening. Jennifer's figure stands in the middle of the room, her shadow trembling on the wall. He blinks a few times, unsure. "Jennifer, is that you, or am I dreaming?" His voice is hoarse with sleep and surprise. He rubs his eyes quickly and pushes himself upright. Jennifer stands motionless, her cheeks streaked with tears, his phone laid on the table like evidence of a crime. "Surprise," she says through tears, a mix of pain and sarcasm in her voice. The light from the screen illuminates her face, and Michael immediately sees something is wrong. Her expression isn't the joy of reunion he'd expect from a surprise like this, but shock and hurt. "What happened? Why are you crying? And how did you get in? Did you just get here?" Michael stammers, still disoriented, trying to pull himself together. He quickly grabs the t-shirt thrown over a chair and pulls it on, embarrassed. He realizes Jennifer is really there, not a dream, and for a second his heart bursts with joy and confusion. But then he sees her gaze sharp cutting, unlike anything he's ever seen from her. Jennifer says nothing. She lifts the phone, the screen still lit, showing him the message. Her hand trembles. A flush rises in Michael's cheeks when he recognizes the name Daria on the display. He bites his lip. "Jennifer, it's not what you think," he begins in a low voice, climbing off the couch and taking a step toward her. Jennifer steps back, as if his nearness might burn her. "Not what I think, seriously." Her voice sounds almost foreign, fractured by tears and fury. "Michael, I read it. I read everything." Her large brown eyes, usually so gentle, burn now with disappointment. "Photos that disappear, little hearts. Did you like the photo?" She repeats the line with a bitter taste. "While I was away you." She stops, her voice breaks. Michael feels a huge lump in his throat. "Jennifer, please listen to me." He raises his hands, pleading with his eyes. "It wasn't anything serious. It really wasn't. Yes, I talked to Daria, but she's just a co-worker. Nothing physical happened. I know it looks really bad, but I felt so alone without you." As he speaks, Michael inches forward, as if on thin ice. Jennifer retreats another step, her back hitting the wall. "Just a co-worker? Do co-workers send you photos like that?" Jennifer bursts out, wiping at the tears that keep coming with the back of her hand. "God, Michael, I stayed up nights talking to you. I fought through the longing and the jealousy, and I always gave you all my trust. And what did you do? You threw it down the drain for some filthy messages with a stranger." "She's not a stranger, she's a girl I work with, but not like that." He blurts, realizing he's chosen the wrong words. She's a stranger to us, to our relationship. She doesn't matter. It was stupid." He stammers, trying to explain. "Jennifer, believe me, it was just, I don't know, a momentary comfort. We got friendly at the office, we talked, she knew my girlfriend was away, and I think she took advantage of me being vulnerable. She sent a few more personal messages, and I admit, I answered. At first it seemed harmless, we were talking like co-workers. Then she started to flirt. I should have stopped. I know. But I felt lonely and I was weak. I didn't seek this out, but I didn't stop it when I should have, either. I am sorry, so sorry." Michael stops, realizing he's speaking in a rushed whisper. Jennifer stares at him, tears streaming. Her heart is torn between anger and love, between the urge to embrace him now that he's within reach, and the impulse to run as far as she can, back out into the night. She doesn't know what to believe. She sees him standing there with slumped shoulders, blue eyes full of despair, his face steeped in guilt. She knows that expression, Michael really is sorry, she tells herself. She knows him well enough to know when he's sincere. But her mind is screaming, how could he do this to me? "You betrayed me, Michael," Jennifer whispers, staring at the floor. Her words crack like a whip. He flinches and shakes his head hard. I didn't really betray you. I wasn't with her, Jennifer. It was only online, I told you. I never saw her outside of work. I didn't. We just exchanged some stupid words and a few pictures. The last words barely make it out of shame. I know it's awful and that I hurt you. But you're my love, you're my reality. She was a foolish illusion, a momentary escape from loneliness. Please, forgive me. Jennifer lifts her eyes and sees tears in his. Michael, a man who rarely cries, now his voice trembles and tears cling to his lashes. She feels anger begin to mix with pain, with pity, and with love. She loves him, God. She loves him so much she can hardly breathe with all that love and longing tangled together. And that is exactly why this betrayal burns so badly, no matter how only online it was. She lets herself sink slowly onto the edge of the sofa because her legs won't hold her. She buries her face in her hands and starts sobbing, now without restraint. Michael, his heart torn, sits down beside her and slowly reaches out a hand to touch her shoulder. He hesitates a second, afraid of being pushed away, then rests his palm on her trembling shoulder. Jennifer feels his touch, so familiar, so longed for on so many nights, and shudders. She wants to pull back, but she doesn't. She stays there crying while he gently strokes her shoulder and then, gathering courage, pulls her into a half embrace. Please, please don't leave, Michael whispers, his voice broken, resting his forehead against her temple. He knows he could lose her forever, and his heart hammers in terror at the thought. I'm sorry, I know I ruined everything, but I can't lose you, Jennifer. I love you so much. Jennifer lifts her face from her hands and turns toward him. Their eyes meet in the dim light. In his gaze she sees so much remorse and fear that the anger in hers loses some of its force. She raises a hand and touches his face, wiping a tear from his cheek. It was so hard without you, she whispers, her voice hushed by crying. And that's exactly why what you did hurts so much. Michael nods, pulling her closer. I know, my love. It deserves to hurt. I don't deserve your forgiveness now. But if you can find the strength in your heart, I promise I'll do anything to win back your trust. Anything. I don't want anyone else. It was a huge mistake. His words falter, and he holds her with desperation, as if trying to press her to his heart, so she can feel his sincerity. Jennifer remains still for a moment in his arms, then sighs deeply through tears and lets her head rest on his chest. Emotionally exhausted, she can feel his heart pounding. In the night air, pain and love blend into a heavy silence. They stay like that together, half embraced, both quietly weeping. Around them, the room stands as the night's silent witness. On the desk, the laptop softly lights up a photo of the two of them happy, from a vacation last summer. On the table, the phone still shows Daria's message, like a thorn. Outside, far away, a horn sounds faintly. The city goes about its business, oblivious to the small drama in this apartment. Jennifer's mind is a storm. She loves him, but she feels betrayed. Had she already forgiven him in part the moment she felt his arms around her? Or will there always be a trace of doubt? Part of her wants to scream, maybe even hit him, for the pain he caused. Another part just wants to stay like this against his chest and forget everything, to believe it's a nightmare they'll both wake from. She knows the decision won't be made tonight. At last, Jennifer lifts her head slightly from Michael's chest. You broke my heart, she says quietly, staring somewhere at the floor. But I miss you so much I can hardly stand it. I'm so angry at you, Michael, and yet, right now I'd spend the whole night holding you because I love you. Her voice breaks again on the last words. Michael rests his forehead against hers and squeezes his eyes shut. I'm sorry, he whispers, repeating it like a refrain. And I love you. I love you so much. They stay pressed together on the couch, rocked by their mixed emotions. Through the window, the first pale streaks of dawn appear. The heavy night of longing and pain slowly gives way to an uncertain morning, yet one still filled with hope. Together, Held in this fragile embrace, Michael and Jennifer know they have much to talk about. There may be tears in the days ahead, maybe reproaches and hard work to repair what broke. The distance between them for the moment has vanished, physically and emotionally. And the longing that consumed so many nights has now brought both the pain of truth and the chance at a new beginning. It remains to be seen whether their love can heal the wound or whether the mark of that night will linger like a scar. What is certain is that, in the coming light, they both feel the same thing. They still care deeply for each other, and a breakup would have been infinitely more painful than any fight. In the silence between them, love still flickers like a candle carefully shielded from the wind that almost snuffed it out. Jennifer and Michael's story shows us how difficult the path of long-distance love can be, and how longing can bring out both the most beautiful and the most fragile parts of a relationship. Their behaviors are, unfortunately, quite common among couples separated by miles. Jennifer felt intense insecurity and jealousy, even as she tried her hardest to trust fully. Michael, on the other hand, gave in to loneliness and the temptation of an emotional escape, committing what we call digital infidelity. He didn't cheat physically, but he crossed the boundaries of trust through messages and virtual intimacy. What brought them to this point? Distance, profound longing, coupled with the absence of touch and real presence, left each of them vulnerable in their own way. Jennifer suffered in silence, hiding her fears to appear strong. Michael numbed his longing in the wrong way, seeking fleeting validation and comfort elsewhere, instead of speaking openly with Jennifer about how lonely and tempted he felt. Is there a villain here? The situation invites us to look beyond labels. Michael was deeply in the wrong, and his behavior hurt Jennifer, that's indisputable. But if we look with empathy, we see a young man overwhelmed by loneliness and insecurity, who sought easy relief without foreseeing the painful consequences. We see a young woman who put her whole heart and trust on the line, and who, in the moment of betrayal, feels her world collapse. Her reactions, shock, anger, tears, are normal in the face of such a blow. His reactions, initial denial, then desperate remorse, show that he recognizes the gravity of the situation and that he does love his partner, but he underestimated how hard it would be to cope far from her. It's a classic example of how distance can test the limits of fidelity and trust. What likely wouldn't have happened if they'd been side by side day after day happened against the backdrop of loneliness and vulnerability created by separation. Psychologically, Jennifer and Michael were confronted with their own inner demons. Prolonged longing stirred in Jennifer a fear of abandonment. Maybe he'll forget me, maybe he'll find someone else. A fear she repressed while trying to be strong. For Michael, the longing exposed an acute need for affection and instant validation, a low frustration tolerance, and a kind of emotional immaturity in handling loneliness. When these needs and fears aren't spoken about openly, they erupt in unhealthy ways, exactly what happened here. Michael didn't tell Jennifer how lonely or tempted he felt, for fear of seeming weak or worrying her. Jennifer didn't share all her anxieties so as not to seem jealous or distrustful. This lack of fully honest communication, combined with the distance, created the perfect conditions for misunderstandings and mistakes. At the same time, the story highlights the importance of boundaries and clear agreements in a long-distance relationship. Perhaps Jennifer and Michael had never clearly discussed what they consider cheating in their context. Some would say it's only online, it's not real infidelity. Others would argue rightly that betrayal begins the moment you give someone outside the relationship the attention and intimacy that should be reserved for your partner. In long-distance love, these rules must be set and honored even more strictly, precisely because the temptation to fill the emotional void can arise. Trust is the foundation, and when it's breached, rebuilding it takes time and sincere effort, if it's even possible. Ultimately, Jennifer and Michael's situation reflects one of the great lessons of long-distance love. Intense longing can be like a flame that purifies the relationship, bringing the truth of your feelings to light. Sometimes the truth is painful, as it was for them, uncovering a betrayal. Other times, longing simply confirms how strong the bond is, two hearts that resist temptation and remain loyal. In either case, distance acts like a mirror that shows you who you are and how emotionally prepared you are to sustain love. Jennifer and Michael learned in the hardest way that their love had unsuspected fragilities. It remains to be seen whether they can turn this crisis into a chance for growth, whether Michael can slowly regain the trust he lost by proving his devotion through actions, and whether Jennifer can forgive and heal the wound, perhaps becoming stronger and setting firmer boundaries in the future. What's certain is that long-distance love tested them like no other obstacle before. From here on, it's up to them whether the fire of longing will light their way toward a more mature love or burn the bridges between them. Long-distance love is, without question, a trial by fire that not every couple manages to pass. It confronts us with our greatest fears, the fear of losing someone, the fear of not being enough, and challenges us to show our finest qualities, loyalty, patience, and the creativity to love across space and time. Think of Jennifer and Michael's story. With their emotions and their mistakes, they showed us that distance can almost unravel a relationship when communication and trust fracture. But they also showed us that when the feelings are genuine, neither person gives up easily without a fight. Even wounded, they were still holding hands at the end, trying to repair what the miles between them had damaged. In real life, many couples do make it through years of separation and come out stronger. The secret? Keep the flame alive through honest daily communication, small gestures of affection, and unshakable trust that the other is with you in spirit, even if not in body. Long-distance love teaches you that true love isn't just about being physically present, it's about being present with your heart, consistently, no matter how many miles lie between you. Of course, it's not an easy road. There will be moments of doubt, days when the longing overwhelms you and you feel like giving up. There will be nights like Jennifer's, when the pillow is wet with tears and your mind is crowded with painful scenarios. But there will also be movie-worthy reunions, embraces in crowded airports where for the two of you the world stops for a moment. There will be long messages and video calls where you fall asleep together with the phones beside you, as if the distance disappeared for a few hours. Each of these moments becomes another brick in the foundation of your relationship. Ultimately, long-distance love is also a mirror of desire, trust, and emotional maturity. What do you see when you look into that mirror? Do you see two people who want each other enough to endure the ache of longing? Do you see a trust that holds even when temptations and doubts arise? Do you see two partners who have learned to communicate honestly, share their vulnerabilities, and grow together even while apart? If so, your relationship is passing the trial by fire with flying colors. If not, it isn't a failure but a revelation. Perhaps the distance has shown you that something essential was missing or needed healing. At the end of this chapter, I invite you to reflect on your own perspective. What do close and far mean to you in love? You may realize that when you truly love, the other person's soul is always with you no matter the distance. And if you yourself are going through the emotions of a long-distance love, remember you are not alone. Many hearts have crossed continents in their minds and survived. With every sincere "I love you" spoken through a screen, with every compromise and every act of patience, you are building a bridge to carry your love forward. Sometimes the strongest couples are the ones who have been through trials like these. Distance, however harsh, has a way of clarifying things. It shows you what is truly worth fighting for. Long-distance love is a hard road, but don't forget, the fire of longing can either melt you down or forge you. It's up to the two of you how you use this trial by fire. If you truly love each other and do the work together, you'll discover that no ocean is too wide and no distance too great. And when at last you are back in each other's arms, you'll look back and realize that all the waiting, all the long nights, and all the tears have made your love stronger, more authentic, more ready to last. Distance will have been only a difficult chapter in your love story, a chapter you emerged from holding each other even tighter.